Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the series of Cordillera Textiles Talk. The Corditex project is an interdisciplinary team that studies Northern Luzon textiles and beyond. And we are pleased to have with us a special resource person on Iloco and Itneg Abel. And for the past week, this is a continuing conversation with the ones with BJ Esposo Guerrero, who talked about the Abel of Pinilian of Ilocos Norte. Next month, we will also have Miss Patis Tesoro to talk about her work among the Iloco and Itneg in Abra. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Maria Lourdes or Malot, as fondly called, Malot Ingel. Began working with agricultural communities in the Ilocos as a researcher and development worker in 1990. Rather focused on peasant and fisher folk socio-economic issues and food security, she minimally dealt with crafts communities' production and marketing concerns, and least of all with those of weavers. She only started to work more closely with Abel Iloco weavers later when she was engaged for the Ilocos Sur Living Treasures Research Project and awards in 2009 to 2011. And that began about 11 months after leaving her job as anthropology instructor at the Department of Anthropology, Sociology, and Psychology at UP Baguio, where she served for 2 years. Malot joined the National Museum of the Philippines in Ilocos Regional Museum in August 2018, where she now serves the nation by cleaning and taking care of heritage collections and by doing some research and writing on this, largely with the theoretical framing and practice that she acquired through her academic training and community work. So we are pleased to have with us our dear friend and colleague, cultural worker, Miss Malot Ingal. Malot, take it away. Audio,
Okay.
microphone.
Yeah. Yeah. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. So let me share my screen, but before we proceed, no, well, I'd naipaliwanag naman ni Ma'am Ikin maybe yung yung aking kumbaga background, because I think that is important to give context to my positionality when talking about the Abel Iloco and the Itneg Abel. So um, even if I wasn't so much interested in Abel Ilocos as a subject matter, no, actually I grew up with Abel Iloco blankets, no, including one that was woven by my mother when she was 16 years old. It was plain white, kumbaga. So parang napaka-common para sa amin itong Abel Iloco. And then it's funny also because I didn't realize that the pandiling, the long skirts worn by my grandmother were all Abel Iloco. So kasi pagka nandyan yan, di ba, ang tendency is parang wala lang sa'yo, parang you take it for granted. But I also went to high school wearing a palda that was Abel Iloco, and I remember that during those years in the 1980s, my mother started complaining about the checkered palda of my school not being available in the market anymore. It was difficult to source already. That was kind of a transition that time in the 1980s, I'd say. Now, I'd say that was a very important transition in the 1970s and 1980s when the weaving started to wane in the Ilocos. So may kahirapan na. Kumbaga, pumapasok na even the uniforms that were traditionally done by loom weaving, they were being replaced already by factory-made textiles of the same design. Excuse me. But okay, with the Abel Ilocos as a subject matter, I was kind of forced to learn about it, of course, because of work. But later on, I also got fired up because of concerns about, for example, concerns about appropriation and the marginalization of weavers. So that's where I come from. No, but the stories that I'm going to share here, the knowledge that I'm going to share here, are all they all came from the weavers and from the communities. So I do not own them. I'm just one of the many interpreters, kumbaga, through talks like this and by some writing. Okay, so let's start, no? So dinagdagan ko actually yung title ng Pagkakamangan, Pagraramanan, Confluence of Abel Iloco Itneg. Later on, mamaya i-discuss ko kung ano ba yung Iloco terms na ginamit ko. Okay. So yung discussion outline natin, ito lang, no? Siyempre, it's always very important to situate ourselves geographically when we talk about culture, because we know how important it is when it comes to, yung how important the environmental context is when we talk about culture. So nature influences a lot how we live our lives, no? Especially in the past, no? Sa ngayon, syempre, nagbabago yung panahon. There are already so many other influences that are even greater than nature, no? And then the second point, like, who are we? So, because we're talking here about Abel Iloco, Abel Itneg, meron na siyang ethnicity, even about these objects that we're talking about. So, mahalagang pag-usapan natin yung ethnicity. Then we will have a quick overview, not so quick overview of Abel Iloco, history, ano ba itong textile weaving sites natin sa Ilocos region, and that includes, when I say Ilocos region, we include at least the lower half, the western half of Abra. And then let's talk about the design techniques and patterns also. Just an overview, rundown. Then tingnan natin na yung through that, tingnan natin yun, how we understand the ethnicities in our woven cloth or of our woven cloth. And ano ba yung, tingnan natin, ano ba yung problema dito? Okay? So, next slide. Okay. Okay, so tingnan natin, where are we? No? So, nasa Baguio kayo or in different parts. Actually, UP Baguio, no? So, the participants are in many parts of the country. No, meron pa ako nakitang taga Iloilo na kasama ko na nandyan sa participants ngayon. So makikita natin with the map that I actually got this from Google Earth and then just put the labels, no? So we see here places where weaving is done. Satrat in Ilocos Norte, but these are not the only places. So, okay. And then the photograph that I used in the cover page of this presentation, yun ay actually taken from Canyao, no? Yung ridge, this is the Ilocos Ridge that kind of divides the Ilocos and the Cordillera, and that includes Abra na. Pagka west of this ridge, yun na yung east of this ridge, nandun na yung Abra. So what we're looking now is the coast, no? Ito yung makikita niyo yung Abra River exiting papunta sa West Philippine Sea. While on the other side, ito na yun, makikita mo naman from atop, from this mountain in Canyao, you can see Abra, and on the horizon, you can imagine that you're seeing already parts of the mountains of even of Mountain Province, no? Okay, so I use the word pagkakamangan because I want to stress this importance, yung kamang, which means pagkakamangan is converging point or a place of convergence, and the root word is kamang. So in embroidery, that appears to yung kamang na sinasabi, and that means joining. So for example, if you want to make a blanket, you have to join the panels because our traditionally woven cloth are of course kumbaga hindi siya kasya or anong tawag mo dito? Narrow. These are narrow panels that you have to sew together to be able to make your blankets. So ito kamang or pagkamangan is also, it also means refuge, no? To whom or where one runs to. And pakaikamakan, then it appears in marriage, no? Pakaikamangan, that would be the family one becomes connected to through marriage, and naikamang would be the in-law. Okay. And then the other word is pagraramanan, something that is shared from the root word raman. Karaman, included, no? Pakairamanan, something where one is included. Rumamraman, a person who includes himself or herself in a situation. Then mangiraman is to include. So of course there's also raman, iba yung pagkakabigkas, and that would mean taste, but that could also be relevant. Hindi na tayo magdadwell masyado dito. Okay. Okay, so now we're talking about the textile weaving of two that are associated with two ethno-linguistic groups, and that's the Iloco and the Itneg. So actually, ang Itneg at Iloco ay they are the ones closest ethno-linguistically, although the Itneg is more closer to the Kalinga when it comes to ethno-linguistics. But for the Iloco, yun ang pinakamalapit na kamag-anak niya, yung Itneg. And you can see, no, that Itneg nakalagay dito sa map, no. I-stress ko na naman yung map. Yung place ng yung territory ng Itneg just east of the narrow Ilocos coast, and kumbaga nandun siya sa gilid, kumbaga foothills of the Cordillera siya. But it's very near. And these mountains, although they seem to be parang, napaka, ang hirap naman yan, no? Paano sila mag-meet dyan. Actually, until now, they share hunting grounds dyan sa mga tuktok ng mga bundok na yan. And so the Itneg and the Iloco meet even up in the mountains to hunt, hanggang ngayon. Okay. So, yung tingnan natin, ano ba yung Iloco, no? Di ba yun yung, kumbaga, mula yan doon sa, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, mula dun, meron yan Austronesian roots, so meaning off, no? Ilocong. So, merong yung mas popular na version of how to interpret yan, yung Iloco, of the Luok daw, ang Luok meaning coves. So makikita natin yung coves dito, siguro ito yung ibig sabihin niyan. So kumbaga, the reference to the Iloco clearly comes from, a reference that is used by the outside to refer to the people in the Lukong or in the Luok. Ang Lukong naman is, kumbaga parang depression yan, parang sa isang bowl. So when you're up in the mountains, you could actually appreciate that, yung pagiging Luok niya at saka Lukong niya. At yung Itneg naman ay Itiuneg of the interior, no? And there's a river called Tineg, na sabi nila, ang source din yan, Tiuneg, no? Tineg, the river inside. And the Tineg River is there, up there, no? And joining this is the Abra River na. Abra River actually comes from about 198 kilometers up from Mount Data, down, up, northward and then eastward, bago umexit dito sa may Kawayan at saka Vigan, no? Dito sa towns na ito, Bantay, Kawayan, and Vigan in Ilocos Sur. So, just imagine that these rivers are highways. Ang sabi nga ni Arnold Azurine, tinatawag niya yan as river highways. So, ma-imagine na natin na yan yung kumbaga, passage, way ng mga tao, ng different communities in the Cordillera, in the Western Cordillera, down to the western part of Luzon. Okay. Yun. So, apart from the Itneg of course is considered, listed as an indigenous peoples group, while the Iloco is not, no? Hindi na. Mainstream tayong tinatawag. Meron pang ibang indigenous peoples group sa Ilocos region, no? Nandiyan yung listahan natin. Isnag, Yapayaw, Imalawa, Kantanaay, Bago, Ibaloy, Kalanguya. Okay. So, okay. Dahil ang usapan natin ay tela, at ito siguro ay pagka pumupunta kayo sa fair or when you come to Vigan, no? Isa sa mga gusto nyong bilhin ay tela na tinatawag na Abel Iloco, or yung tinatawag na itlog weaves, no? But what do we exactly understand when we say Abel Iloco or Abel Itneg or Itneg textile, no? So tingnan natin. Medyo maglalaro tayo. Kung pwede, maglista kayo dyan. May mga number itong mga plates na to. And then just write, no? For this plate, for example, how would you identify it? Iloco, Itneg, or another, kung meron pa kayong ibang identification. And then later on, through the discussion, let's check about your, ano ba yung mga sagot natin against the information that's presented. Okay. So, tingnan natin din, because, okay, tingnan din na rin natin yung ano ba yung kasaysayan ng Abel Iloco at saka syempre yung Abel weaving sa ibang bahagi ng bansa, sa ibang bahagi ng Northern Luzon, for example. So, archaeologically, may sinasabi tayo na yung ating bark cloth weaving ay nagsimula pa noong 200 to 250 before the Christian era, no? So that would mean more than 2,000, about 2,200, 2,300 years ago. So until now, actually, may bark cloth weaving dito sa Ilocos or bark cloth production. Not exactly weaving. But we have in Ilocos Sur, for example, in San Emilio, we still have a producer of bark cloth because it's especially for women in the indigenous peoples groups. Some of the women are still using the bark cloth for during childbirth, after childbirth, because they believe and they have experienced that wearing the bark cloth after a childbirth would hasten the healing of the woman, no, na mula doon sa kanyang panganganak. Okay, what have we used apart from the bark? We have used the cotton fibers. So apart from those that are planted on a plantation level now, actually yung mas native na cotton trees natin ay mas matataas daw to, about 2 to 3 meters yung height. And of course, they produce not so much cotton, but when you think about it, before the Spaniards arrived, actually until the American period, mas marami yung, even in the interior of Ilocos, mas marami naman yung konti lang yung cloth na sinusuot. Halimbawa, tapis lang, if ever. And then, actually, walang blouse. Makikita natin dito sa photographs, yung mga archival photographs natin. So there was, kumbaga, there was no need to really produce a lot of cloth because the people didn't need as much. No? So we can imagine kailan ba lumakas yung production na to or na-encourage yung kumbaga yung industrial, almost industrial level ng production. Okay, so before that, cotton was wildly growing, and then during the Spanish period, when the Spaniards saw na, may maganda pala yung yung quality ng fabric coming from the north, no, and but they are only using the bark, the backstrap weaving implements. So paano kaya mahasten yung production nito for profit, no? Kumbaga, dahil maganda yung quality, naisip nila na magandang article ng commerce. So actually yung Abel Iloco was collected as tribute, no? So ganun siya ka-importante doon sa ekonomiya ng under the colonial government. So they introduced na yung plantations ng cotton, tapos yung pedal looms that were already present in Galicia, Spain. This was also introduced in the Philippines in the 17th century. And meron dun sa ating records yung sinatawag na mantas de Ilocos and indigo as dye, no? Being trade items, and they said even that the mantas de Ilocos or cloth, at least some cloth that came from the Ilocos were so good that they could be used for sales for the galleons. Pataas hanggang sa 1890s, makikita natin yung importance ng Abel din and the related product, yung indigo dye, because they were included in expositions of local products in fairs, no? katulad ng nangyari sa Candon nga ng 1892. Then in early 1900s, medyo namatay na yung mamamatay na yung kumbaga traditional dye production from vegetable sources or plant sources because the introduction of the synthetic dyes, which actually began at the end of the 19th century. But its introduction, these synthetic dyes began to be more aggressively introduced into the Philippines in the early 1900s, and that was already the American period. Okay, so in the 1950s, we still had the commercial yarn production out of our cotton fibers, out of our own plantations in the Ilocos. Until the 1970s, actually, they made to my cotton plantations, but the fibers were already transported to Manila for processing. No? And then later on, in the 1970s, actually, mabilis na yung pagpasok ng commercial yarn. Eventually, nawala yung traditional cotton yarn production natin. But they have begun reviving it since more than a decade ago in Ilocos Norte. Kaya lang mahirap talaga, especially with the competition of thread coming from India, coming from China now. It's so difficult for Philippine cotton to compete actually. So yung sinabi ko kanina, 1970s actually nag-start yung pag-wane ng Abel Iloco industry, but in the 1990s merong makikita natin yung efforts to revive, and until ngayon makikita natin na medyo sumisigla naman yung ating Abel Iloco production and the traditional textile production in different communities around the country. That would also include na yung dito sa Cordillera. Okay. Sige. Yun. So, at present, meron itong map na to ay medyo hindi updated kasi marami pang nakalista dito sa Ilocos. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali sa bilang ko, there are 13 towns where weaving is done in Ilocos. In Ilocos Norte, since about 10 years ago, mga tatlong towns. No, in La Union, there's only Bangar now, and in Abra, there's weaving in La Paz by Iloco weavers, no, and in Manabu Abra by Muyadan Itneg weavers. Then Peñarubia, they actually, ang kwento dyan ay mula nung mamatay yung kanilang last na backstrap weaver around the late 1970s or early 1980s, nawala na yung weaving doon, but they kept the tradition of embroidery. Okay. Yeah. So, titingnan lang natin na para kasi mahalaga yung kung paano ba yung paglakad ng mga abel at yung exchange na nangyayari by studying our map, no, or looking at our map, and yung lalo na yung with the river in it. Okay. Ito na. Tingnan na natin yung inyong mga sagot. Okay, ito pala. Okay, ano kaya ito, no? Doon sa inyong papel, ano kaya ito, no? Paano nyo to i-describe doon sa sinasabi natin pag if you are given a quiz, no? How would you refer to this? Is it Abel Iloco or Abel Itneg? One. Ayan ha. Meron bang nagpa-participate, Ma'am Ikin? Hindi ko kayo makita.
This is Abel Iloco, Cantarines.
Wag mo munang sagutin.
Sorry.
Oo. Alam mo lahat yung sagot niyan, pero yung audience natin. Meron
Na-excite lang.
Oo. Alam lahat ni Ma'am Ikin to, syempre, kasi nag-iikot siya. Oo. Pero tayo muna, yung participants, gusto ko na mag-practice tayo ng how to identify, okay? Yan. Then eto. Participate kayo ha. Laro to, laro. Nasa third na tayo. Nasa third slide. Third plate. Okay. Fourth. Okay ba? Mabilis bang inyong pagsusulat? Pwede ang ibang sagot ha, pag ayaw niyong sagutin ng Iloco or Itneg, di sagutin niyo ng iba. Malay niyo, merong galing sa iba dyan. Di ba? Number 8 na tayo. Ibabalik ko yata sa number 7 kasi medyo mabilis yata yung pag-rush ko kanina. Okay, that's number 7 and this is number 8. Okay. Eto. Ano kaya ito? And then eto. Ano kaya ito? Okay. May mga sumagot ba naman? Hindi ko makita yung chat box.
Yeah, naka-enable yung chat, I think.
Hindi. Ito lang ano hindi ko ma-navigate masyado itong screen ko. But anyway, mamaya tingnan natin yung sagot. Okay, ito. Bago natin sagutin, actually, sasagutin natin through the discussion, the following discussion. When we say now Abel Iloco and Abel Itneg, actually wala tayong reference pagka sa Abel Iloco na yung kumbaga Spanish period reference or even in the American period na reference because there was not really a really good ethnography that was done for the Ilocos, no, during these periods. I guess we were not so important. Ang Iloco ay hindi masyadong important in the eyes of the colonizers, no, and even in the eyes of scholars of anthropologists who came, of course, who were from other countries like merong mga ethnographers dito nakarating mga German, no? Oo. Tapos for example si Feiko Perkul, siya yung nag-aral sa Itneg pero hindi niya talaga inaral yung sa Iloco. Kaya pero seminal yung kanyang production no, pagdating doon sa Itneg. And we can actually refer to the work of Feiko Perkul when it comes to weaving in Ilocos because he mentioned also or he kind of made comparisons one way or the other in different parts of his work, no? And here ang sinasabi niya, ito yung mga patterns na nakita niya doon sa Itneg textiles, no, in Abra, no, among Itneg communities when he was there in the early 1900s. So merong fish pattern, weaving on a Spanish chair, pineapple, heart, no. Interestingly, no, pagka titatanong mo na dito sa contemporary period sa ngayon, no, for example, when I talked with Nana Norma Agaid Mina in Peñarubia, Abra in November 2013, yung tinatawag dito ni Cole na fish pattern, na heart pattern, ay, nandun na. Nasaan? Okay. Yung tinatawag ni wait lang ha. Medyo balik tayo sa fish. Okay. Oh, yung heart. Yung tinatawag ni Cole na heart pattern dito sa kanyang libro, ang sabi ni Nana Norma, sinanbaduya. Ang baduya ay pagkain. Parang merienda yan na binabaon daw ng mga tao pagka halimbawa pupunta sa trabaho, no? So ito ay parang minatamis na mayroong malagkit, no? So glutinous rice na merienda. So sinanbaduya ang tawag niya na doon sa similar dito sa heart naman na sinasabi ni Nicole. Pagdating naman sa ngayon sa Santiago for example or iba pa, ibang community sa Tagudin, ang tatawagin nila ito mata-mata. Itong heart ha, yung o kaya kesla diamante, mga ganun, mga diamond patterns. Yun. Ang syempre ang sinasabi ni Cole dito na siguro nung interpret niya ito or sinulat niya yung interpretation ng mga nakausap niya, hindi naman so ibig sabihin na ito lang yung interpretation. So maybe these were the only ones that he recorded, but you can imagine that different people had different interpretations for these different patterns. Okay. Yan. So, other weaving patterns pointed out by Nana Norma Agaidnina that she said were part of, ethnic motifs. Yung Kinarkarayan, that means river, Banbantay, mountains, Sinankoko, yung parang nails, no? So there were also figures on textiles done through embroidery, like the tukak or frog, na may identification pa kayong lalaki or babae, pagay, which means rice, and banbanti, scarecrow, rice bundle after the harvest. Okay, and then another Agaid family member I talked with identified also the lizard and other types of nails, no, na figures, at saka yung rice plants. Yeah. So marami pagka pumunta ka doon sa community, marami silang description. Meron pang embroidery na tinatawag na sinankawa or yung spider-like. And in Peñarubia, at least, no, the kusikus, they recognize the kusikus done in the Ilocos and say that for them, they call it buldiweng. No? So makikita natin doon, no, na yung pagkakaiba ng interpretation and even in the terms used. For example, pag kusikos, that this means whorl pattern. Mamaya makikita natin pag diniscuss natin yung techniques, no. But this kusikos actually would be interpreted in another communities, Alipugpog, and in Peñarubia as buldiweng. Okay. Punta tayo. Okay, ito pa yung ibang na-record ni Cole na patterns. Fish hooks, crab, cross-section of a pineapple, horse, sabi niya. So, meron siyang explanation dito, no? Except for the horse figure, they do not appear to be copies from nature, but all have realistic interpretations. So, even if these are different geometric patterns, for example, they have, kumbaga, parang equivalent in nature for the communities. Then, meron pa ito, no? And I would identify now, immediately, I would identify, for example, that cat's paw, na parang paano ba dinescribe, no? So pagka titingnan mo yung work ni Faye Cooper Cole, yan na, nilagay ko na yung page 436, no? Doon sa kanyang book 1922, tingnan nyo na lang. So makikita nyo yung explanation tungkol doon sa patterns na to. Ang maganda kay Cole, doon sa observation niya, no? Sinasabi niya dito yung kumbaga yung the patterns that were shared also with the Ilocos. So he already acknowledged that while some of the patterns were owned by the Itneg, many were also shared with the Iloco weaving communities. Hindi lang natin alam kung yun ay shared din pagdating doon sa use ng textile. Yun ang hindi natin alam kasi syempre I would understand na wala na ito if ever the textiles were used, for example, as ritual cloth by the Itneg. Maybe at that time when Cole was here, it is most likely that these textiles were no longer used the same way in the Ilocos, if ever. But let us remind ourselves na naman, no, na the Iloco and the Itneg are the closest ethno-linguistically. So you can imagine that before the colonization, before the drive to make the lowlanders Christian communities, you would just imagine that they shared many of these rituals and practices, the way of life, no? Okay. Okay, so tingnan na natin ulit. Let's check na naman natin. Okay, ito yung discuss na natin ngayon yung ating mga weaving techniques pagdating doon sa abel, no? So start tayo dito sa simple na ang tawag dito. Wasig-wasig kasi ganyan-ganyan lang yan. Parang back and forth lang yung shuttle mo doon sa loom. Walang masyadong challenge, no? So for the Ilocos again, no, these are termed differently. Halimbawa itong may mga stripes, no? Katulad ng hinahabi ni Nana Nena, namatay na siya 2 years ago. Yan. Ang hinahabi niya dito sa loob ng Abel Iloco Gallery ng National Museum Ilocos ay Cantarinis. Yun yung tawag doon. So ang Cantarinis, ang characteristic nito is meron siyang prominent na white. Yun yung base niya talaga, yun na color, white. And there would be colored stripes. Like It could be like one color or two colors or three colors or maybe 4 colors then, no? Yeah. Some others may would call the textile with narrower stripes na parang full breadth nung textile ay talagang tuloy-tuloy yung stripes. They would call that layon. Then the same or meron lang konting difference, they would call it rayadillo. So it actually depends on the place, no? And merong mga distinct lang na difference, kumbaga small na distinctions, little distinctions between these textiles. But ito ang niya, parang kumbaga ang characteristic niya ay mas stripes o kaya all white lang, one color lang. So plain weaves. Next. Okay, eto na. So ano yung sagot diyan, no? Okay, it's Cantarines by Catalina Ablog of Barangay Mindoro Vigan, and this one is a private collection of former Congressman D.V. Sabeliano of Ilocos Sur. Okay, ito yung layon na tinatawag. Okay, assorted plain weaves made in Vigan at the Vigan Public Market. Pag pumunta kayo sa Vigan Public Market, pag nandito kayo, pumunta lang kayo. Ang dami-dami yung makikita. Ito, sa La Paz Abra. Okay, and ito, plain weaves din, no? Binaybayek, Isadora Ugay of Kawayan Weaving Bandala. And this is yung bandala ay burial cloth. Okay, bandala is a burial cloth for various Cordillera communities, no? Okay. And it's woven not only in Kawayan and Bantay, it's woven even in Mountain Province and in other Cordillera communities. So this on the left side, you have the piningitan na talagang yan kumbaga ay traditional na clothing among the Itneg. Kumbaga yan talaga identifier nila yan. Na itong piningitan, ang piningitan yung something in the edge, but itong pingit niya, itong red na to, that would make the kumbaga that would make it na kumbaga yan yung distinction na okay, this is for our clothing, especially the women's skirts. Okay. And then of course dito rin sa Kawayan looms, no, you'd find many different fabrics that are to be supplied in Baguio for Cordillera communities. Yeah. Flats. So, meron kang checkered patterns. Ito na yung mas medyo komplikado na to kasi magbibilang ka pati nung pagtapon mo nung yung throw mo ng shuttles. So, binakul, that would be yung parang basket weave itong binakul, yung use of positive and negative use. And the binakul patterns are actually formed by the use of gradated squares. Kumbaga yun that would make the patterns, no, yung pag kaibang sizes, iba-ibang sizes nung squares in the cloth. Makikita natin up close. Okay. Ito, dito muna tayo sa yung mga checkered pattern. So this was Magdalena Gamayo in 2012 when I visited her, no? So that yan, gawa niya yan. At doon ko na-realize na yung mga suot pala ng lola ko ay Abel Iloco pala. Akala ko binili lang doon sa market nang basta-basta na galing sa factory. Yan, eto na. Ito yung mga most prominent na binakul patterns, no? So that would be the kusikus, yung dito sa yung blue, and then the sinanpaid on the right. Okay. Abaniko. Okay. Yan. Tingnan natin yung ano yung sagot niyo sa number 3. Ito, nasa National Museum ito. Tapos meron siya 180190. Ibig sabihin pagka-tin, kasi yung itneg dati, tingyan. Yun yung term na inintroduce ng mga colonizers to refer to mountain peoples. And ito particularly for the itneg. So, identified siya with the itneg. Okay? Amaya in discussion. Okay? And what I'm wearing now, ito yan, yung polo ko, yung Padek Tipusa. Okay? Okay, meron din Padek Tipusa doon sa ating museum collection. Tapos 180236. So So associated naman siya again with the itlog. Okay. Kurkurus. Ito. Sa Sarat, Ilocos Norte, which is a very vibrant weaving community, especially of Binakul. They are really Binakul experts, no? Thicker yung ginagawa nila, and they have diversified. They use this tela to make bags, no? Different types of different products. And this is in Pinili, Ilocos Norte, in the community of Apo Magdalena Gamayo. They are also making Binakul. Apart from the Impalagtuan, yun yung hindi ko na-include dito sa slide na to. Yung kanilang technique na talagang ma-associate mo kay Nana Magdalena Gamayo. Okay. Yun. Ito yung paggawa na ng Binakul pattern. Ayan. Okay, ano yung sagot nyo kaya kanina doon? No? So this was done, itong piece na to ay ginawa ni Isabel Pagal of Bantay. And I can share with you her story mamaya about the textile. Okay. Now another technique, another design technique is called the sinukitan or insuksuk. This is the use of supplementary weft to make the floating patterns such as the two-headed bird that is called gik-gik, and a variety of floral designs, stars, grapes, turkey, and a lot more. And this is the same technique that they use so when they make letterings, no, or names they put names into the textiles. Okay, this is done through the sinukitan technique. Yeah, and that's Ginette Rico, master weaver in this technique from Poway. Ayan, yan, mga gawa ni Ginette Rico. Marami sila sa community nila sa Nalasin. There were about 16 weavers weaving families when I visited in 2018. Again, eto naman din, yung multi-headed techniques na variously called depending on where you are. So, tinumbalit yan siya pagdating doon sa Santa ng Ilocos Sur, binetwagan or binatwagan pagka sa Santa Maria, Ilocos Sur din, at kundiman ang tawag pagdating doon sa Ilocos Norte. Okay. Ito. So, kumusta kaya yung mga sagot nyo kanina? Okay. Yan, tinumbalit siya ng Santa rin. Dami-daming patterns. Yan. And then the pinilian. Itong pinilian, siya ang kumbaga, ito ang technique na nakakapag-create ka ng napakaraming patterns. No? And it's also I think the most, just through observation, I think this is the most difficult to weave because you have to use a lot of so-called design sticks or sirpit in Iloco to be able to create the design. So the sirpit could vary from 4, yung sirpit na tinatawag, yung design sticks, ito yung nandito, yung nililift, actually parang additional heddles siya to lift the certain warp threads to be able to incorporate the weft that would make the design doon sa harap. So dalawa yung weaver, pagdating doon sa Santiago na technique, dalawa yung weavers. Pati sa Kawayan daw dati, dalawa rin yung weavers, no? Na kasi ginagawa rin ito sa Kawayan. I have to make clear, no, na although Santiago is the largest Pinilian weaving community now, this was also largely woven in Kawayan, Ilocos Sur, which is just at the mouth of the Abra River until around the 1960s according to Manang Agustina Quitoriano. So, and Manang Pinay Quitoriano said that the patterns that you find now in Santiago, some of these were woven in Kawayan. No? So, ang production niyan, okay, 2 weavers facing each other could weave a textile, could finish a textile na with the length of 2 yards in 1 day. Okay? So, you can just imagine how difficult it is. Kasi, sa loob ng isang araw, 2 yarda lang ang production ng 2 weavers na ito. Okay. Ito na. Okay? Ito na naman, yung wini-weave kanina doon sa Santiago ay may label na E0192 pagdating sa National Museum. That means it was sourced from the Atingian community or Itneg community. And then, meron din tayo doon sa ating exhibition ng, ano ba to? Fish ba to? Stingray ba siya? O bird? But definitely identified again with the Itneg. Ito, yung horse pattern. Okay, and that is Manang Teresa Ugnayan of Manabu Abra weaving it. Okay. So, Muyadan Itneg Iloco weavers in Manabu Abra. I say Muyadan Itneg and Iloco because the town is, kumbaga, demographically, pag titingnan natin yung ethnicity, ay parang half-half. Half na Itneg at saka half Iloco. And some of the weavers are also, they have Iloco connections also. And eto naman, si Manang Yolanda Agosto, also weaving the horse pattern in Santiago, Ilocos Sur. Okay? And here, see? These Pinilian textiles, all of these that you see in the photographs were woven in Santiago, Ilocos Sur. Okay? And this one is the black at the center, that this black and white textile in the center, they call it binekbeklat. So, paitun. Itong parang may mata-mata dito, paitun na pattern. Tapos dito naman sa baba, itong may blue, meron yung parang phoenix, no? Na iba-iba na naman, meron ding frog na pattern, merong river pattern. So iba-iba, at sabi ko nga sa kanina, iba-iba yung interpretations din ng mga tao tungkol sa kanila. Okay. And these again, yeah. These are all Pinilian produced by Santiago, Ilocos Sur. See? And this is Binay Bayabas, ito, yung guava leaf pattern. Yan. Itong mga bata doon saan, they start with the simpler design. Apat yan lang yata or ilan lang yung design sticks na to. Mga apo ito ni Nana Corazon Agosto ng Santiago. Yeah. So may mga swatches sila, display nila yung patterns na ginagawa nila. This is in Santiago, Ilocos Sur. The woman in the center here, that is Nana Corazon Agosto. Master Weaver Corazon Agosto. Okay, now, doon sa number 9 kanina, doon sa inyong sagot, ano kaya yung sagot nyo? Okay. Itong apron na nakikita niyong nakasabit ay iniwan ng mga taga Peñarubia Abra doon sa market dahil nag-order sila ng parang like similar na textile. Because they get the textiles from La Paz in Abra, from Iloco weavers in La Paz Abra, and from Ilocos Sur also. These are done usually in Kawayan. Some of these are done also in Bigan. Okay. Ito na. Yan, sa embroidery. Okay, this is an Itneg tapis. So that also functions as a ritual cloth. Okay, so identified with the Itneg. And that one, plain weave yan. Kumbaga, plain na weave yung textile and then joined together by this embroidery. Now, very beautiful embroidery where you can see the frog figures, and these are the rice plants. Okay. Yan. Ito, ang mga embroidery experts sa Peñarubia Abra. Ang tawag nila kinamayan. Pero ang nanay ko, gumagawa rin yan, hindi lang ganyan ang pattern. Kamang ang tawag niya. Yun na, kasi kamang is joining. So, paano mo pagtatagpiin yung dalawang panels is through embroidery. So pwedeng simple yan, o pagka-artistic ka, edi lagyan mo ng mga iba-ibang patterns. So pumapasok yung creativity ng individual na weaver doon or yung nagtatahi. Kasi noong unang panahon, wala naman tayong mga makina. So paano ka gagawa ng blanket mo kung wala kang makina at narrow yung iyong textile panels, di ba? Ang only way is to sew them together. Okay, so gawa itong embroidery nito ay gawa ni Nana Isabel Pagal. And they also do the same embroidery in Sarat, Ilocos. Okay, marami pang iba-ibang techniques. Merong tinatawag na dinapat, which is parang something in between the so-called Tinumbalikan and Pinilian. Then there are techniques that could produce specifically yung mosquito net, no? Mosquito net fabric. And there are many other variations of the techniques with reference for this varying according to the place where they are done. Okay. So, no. Ngayon, paano? Ano kaya yung mga sagot nyo? Meron bang gustong sumagot? Kanina may mag-share ba? Baka pwede pong magsabi kayo kung meron kayong saan ba yung nagtama kayo o mali sa ating mga participants. Sana mas maganda kung magkakarap tayo para magtanungan lang tayo. Namimiss ko
Balot si Elaine Clemente. Elaine Clemente? Sumagot daw siya sa paper.
May mga tama kayo? Ano yung experience natin, di ba? So dito na yung ating discussion, no? Pagka nag-identify tayo, for example, we go to the fair nga and ito yung crafts na to, ito weaves galing sa Ilocos at saka galing sa Abra, yung syempre yung stronghold ng yung kumbaga domain ng mga Itneg, yung province ng Abra ngayon na for a certain period of time ay included actually siya doon sa Ilocos, lalo yung western half, no? So ano yung kahirapan pagka mag-identify tayo pag if we are not fed the information? For example, I'm going to sell you this Abeniloco, I'm going to sell to you this Itneg very very intricate Itneg weave, no? What's our basis of saying na okay, this is really Itneg weave, no? Ito ba ay yung kanyang ethnicity ba na inilalagay natin doon sa textile ay associated with the place or person from whom the textile was obtained? May pagkakaiba yan no? So, o kaya doon ba sa kung saan siya produced? For example, here kasi pagka pumunta ka sa vegan public market, pag sinabi mo, bibili nga ako ng Abel Santiago, ipapakita nila sa iyo yung mga pinilian. Kasi merong yung places na to ay merong kumbaga specializations. So, pag Abel Santiago, most likely pinilian yan. Although it's not only pinilian that's made in Santiago, they can also make the Cusicus pattern, no? They can also have the plain weaves, no? The plaids and the checkers, no? And the simpler weaves. But ito yung specialization nila na pinilian. So, for us here, we actually, pag pumunta ka sa market, Regiman Abel Bangar, yung ang Abel Bangar. So that means coming from Bangar or produced in Bangar. Abel Santa, produced in Santa. So we're talking about the production site, no? And then Abel Santiago, no? Ano yung Abel Tabantay, mga ganon. So meron yung production site ay nagbibigay din ng identity doon sa textile. O kaya ethnicity of the weaver ba yung ating basis to say that it's Iloco or Itneg or Iloco Itneg, no? Or is it the ethnicity of the user or consumer? For example, for the items that were that are on exhibit in the National Museum dito sa Ilocos, no? Makikita natin na very particular na meron siyang talagang identified siya with the Itneg, no? But actually, we are not sure whether that record pertains to where the textile piece was obtained. Baka hindi kasi niya represented yung kung saan produced yung textile na yon. Kasi it's not always the case that the textile that you obtain in one place was produced in that place. Diba? Understandable naman. So, yun, yung ethnicity ba ng weaver? How if I'm a weaver, how would I identify myself if I say I'm Iloco or Itneg? Okay, if for example, I give you these different kinds of textiles and I say, this is Iloco, this is Itneg. Ano kaya yung bibilhin nyo? No? Based ba doon sa intricacy ng pattern or based doon sa ethnicity? No? Nasasabihin ko. Halimbawa, sasabihin ko, ito yung Itneg textiles pero produce siya in Santiago, no? Would you prefer that if I say that, oh, that's woven in Santiago, Ilocos Sur? What will be your basis in buying? No? Lahat ng ito, minsan maging conscious ka, no, kung paano ba, no? And then the cultural significance of the patterns. For example, the skirt. Yung plain na skirt sa atin, maaaring isang ritual cloth sa among the Itneg. Katulad nung pinaliwanag dito ni Nana Norma Agaid, no, doon sa skirt na ipinapakita niya noong bumisita kami, na similar doon sa nandun sa museum. So, it was laid or kaya kumbaga pagka gusto nilang palayuin yung malakas na ulan, sinasabi niya na inilalabas itong cloth na to para kumbaga parang go away, ulan, ganyan. O kaya pagka maglalagay sila ng food offerings, inilalagay nila parang mantel itong skirt na to. So hindi lang siya skirt, no? Iba-iba, meron siyang ritual functions. Okay? So yun. Ano kaya yung sagot nyo? Nakailan tama kayo? May tama ba o mali? Okay. Yun yung kahirapan, di ba, nung classification. So yun yung problema natin dun sa classifications. So punta tayo. Ito na. Sa tingin ko, yun, mahirap. Para even for me, nagtatalo pa rin ako sa loob ng isip ko, merong pagtatalo if I identify weaves na hindi ko alam kung saan ginawa. Madali sa akin kung nakita ko right on site. Ito pa, may ikukwento ako sa inyo. Dati po, dinala ako ng mga kasama sa Ethnology Division doon sa isang exhibition dito sa may fort sa Intramuros. Tapos sabi ko, oh, ano yan galing yan sa Santiago. Tapos pag yung pattern, galing sa Santiago. Pero actually nagtaka na ako, bakit ang daming kulay? Kasi parang similar yung pattern, almost the same na pattern. But it was very colorful. Then I found out galing pala among Dayakan, no? So yan yung something interesting, no, na ang dami actually natin na shared na patterns. May pagkakaiba na lang konti dun sa kulay, dun sa thickness ng cloth, dun sa technique na ginamit, pero yung patterns ay maraming similarities. At yung sabi ko nga, syempre yung transmission natin ng patterns na to, paano ba ang natural na transmission, ang natural naman na way to transmit this knowledge and even the designs, no, the pattern, syempre yung pasa-pasa among the weavers, no, from the older weavers, from the lola, from the mother to the daughters, no, to the granddaughters. That's a natural way. But there are also many other ways in which you can, kumbaga, you can create a textile or modify a textile. Like for example, these cositos that used to be like exactly round, I can make it into an oval to make it to diversify it, no? So doon pumapasok yung individual na creativity ng weaver, pumapasok din diyan yung what is significant to you. Like if I would like to put a lot of designs na rice plants doon sa aking textile, no, because I consider it important. For example, if I relate it to the production, to rice production, to food production, no, fertility, mga ganyan. So those various aspects come in when you create a textile. And I think when you buy a textile, there are also a lot of considerations, lalo kung na-conscious ka, no, kung ano yung bibilhin mo. Itong design na to kasi I like the symbolism, for example. Yeah. So, sa tingin ko, tingnan natin, eto pa, kwento, ito. Sa bisita namin sa Manabu in 2018, I found an Iloco weaver na ang ginagawa niya ay kusikus pattern na binakul. So sabi ko, yun po yung natutunan niyo from Ilocos na galing dito. Hindi, sabi niya. Nung nandun na siya, kasi siya, nakapangasawa sa Manabu, kaya doon na siya namamalagi. When she was already residing in Manabu, within the last lang to, very recent yung kanyang kwento, about 5 to 10 years ago, hindi sobra sa 10 years ago. Yung sila na weavers, pumunta sila sa Sarat, Ilocos Norte. And that's where she saw the kusikus pattern and somehow learned about it kasi syempre marunong naman siyang maghabi at wini-weave na niya. So nandun siya sa Manabu na associated with the ITNEG, more associated with the ITNEG community, or do half yung demographics natin pagdating sa ethnicity. Pero itong Ilocos Weaver na to, natutunan niya yung pattern sa rat. Yung pagbabalik tayo doon sa nakita nyo kanina yung kay na Isabel Pagal, no? Sabi ko, saan mo naman natutunan yung pattern na yan, na yung binakul na pattern kanina, yung merong embroidery. Sabi niya, doon din naman sa Solsona. Because when she was young, even around the Japanese occupation or before or after, when she was young, she went with her father to Solsona dahil ang trade nila ay pagbili ng mga baka. So they would go to Solsona to buy the baka, and they would walk with the baka from Solsona to Bantay in Ilocos Sur, no? And while in Solsona, kasi nagtatagal sila doon, while in Solsona, she saw this pattern and she learned from the weavers there in Solsona. Wala nang weavers sa Solsona, walang recorded, at least now, no? Then sabi ko, ito yung embroidery. Kasi actually, nanindig yung balahibo ko nung ilabas niya yung textile. Nasabi niya, gawa ko yan. Itong embroidery nito. Kasi sabi ko, para sa akin, I would really identify that with the ITNEG. Sabi niya, ginawa ko lang. Sabi ko, saan mo natutunan? Hindi, ako lang ang gumawa niyan. Creation ko yan. Hindi meron ka bang pinagtuladan, yung ginaya? Hindi, ako nga lang gumawa. Impilit talaga niya na siya yung gumawa nun. See? So, ibig sabihin, hindi mo nga kailangang makakita ng ibang textile para ka mag-create ng iyong design doon sa hobby mo, doon sa gawa mo. Okay? Tapos ano pa yung kwento? Si Nana Corazon Agosto, hindi, kahit na merong mga nagbibinakol doon sa kanila noon, hindi niya talaga ginagawa yung kusikos pattern. Ang ginawa niya, around the 1990s, ang kwento niya, pumunta siya sa Barangay Mindoro, Vigan, para tingnan. And then si Nana Corazon, she's one of the most innovative na weavers, most creative weavers. Minsan, sabi ng asawa niya, yung kwento yung design, yung fish na, yung money na boat na with a big fish, no? Fisherman kasi ang asawa niya. Sa Bagang Santiago, yung community nila is a coastal community. So, sa fishing community. So, sabi ng asawa niya, mag-hobby ka nga ng ganito. Yung ang pattern, yung nangingisda. So, she created that pattern. And then one time, may kwento siya. In the 1990s, she was invited to a fair. Kasi nga, ito na nga yung pinataas nila yung revival ng traditional textile weaving sa Pilipinas, no? That was in the early 1990s. She went to a fair and she was so smitten with this Maranao design. Sabi niya, pwede bang makakuha ako ng niyan, yung swatch niya, niyan, yung sample niyan. And then ang kwento niya, when she came back to Santiago, dinistrong kanya. She disentangled the threads to see how it was woven. And then she started weaving it, and she honored the source by calling it Marmaranao. So pupunta ka sa Santiago, ito Marmaranao to, no? Paano yan? Galing sa Mindanao, no? Tapos hinabi na Nana Corazon Agosto. And Nana Corazon Agosto also started, she had a lot, even growing as a child, ang kwento niya, maraming iba-ibang pinilian patterns talaga na nandun na doon sa community. Pero ito, meron pa siyang ibang bagong natutuhan na patterns na tinatawag na ITNEG patterns. Although, marami dito sa ITNEG patterns na to ay similar dun sa ginagawa nila. Noong late of 1970s, may teacher in another Ilocos Sur town in Santa who asked her to weave these designs through the pinilian technique then, no? So she was able to do it. Then she was invited to Peñarubia around the 1990s to do demonstrations. And in Peñarubia, they showed her some textiles that they wanted to reproduce. And she started reproducing this also. So, and she creates also, like maybe if you ask her to weave someone who's playing golf, she can do it. I mean, she can do a lot of things because of her creativity and her adeptness at weaving. So let's look at all this, no? Sasabihin ba nating appropriation to, or hindi ba nagtatalo yung isip mo, appropriation ba or what? Kasi weaver din ito eh. Ano? And meron pang kwento noon sa Santa. Isa na lang. Itong sa Santa na weaver, ang kwento niya in the 1950s, 1960s, yung tatay niya umaabot ng isang buwan, around 1 month. Dala-dala yung mga lahat-lahat ng hinabi nila sa pamilya nila, dala-dala buhat-buhat pumupunta sa Mindanao. Nakakarating sa Mindanao para magbenta ng mga So yun yung trade. So all of this, sabi nga ni Manang Tinay Kitoriano, oo, yung mga weavers noon, yung mga lalaki, sila yung pupunta doon sa iba't ibang bayan, so many reach the Cagayan, Isabela, itong iba't ibang lugar na to. And yeah, as far as Mindanao, dala-dala nila yung Abel Iloco nila. So sasabihin ba natin, okay, paano yan? Who influenced who? Di ba? So yun yung mga maaring questions para sa atin, pero maguguluhan tayo. So paano natin i-resolve ito? Kayo, paano nyo i-resolve ito? No? Kasi sa akin, nandun pa ako kahit na meron na akong solutions para sa sarili ko, minsan nagtatalo pa rin ang loob ko on how to classify and even how to treat this. No? Kung tama ba ito, mali, may tama ba o mali. Ganon. Yun. So, sa tingin ko, we have to, for now, ano ba yung makakatulong sa atin? Makakatulong ba tayo na magtatalo tayo ng parang the chicken and egg question? Or mas makakatulong kaya na ma-appreciate natin yung ating connections, no? Yung old links, no? Yung bedeng is an Iloco word. It means border or boundary. But the bedeng is not really parang impenetrable. These are, the river could be bedeng, but even the flow of the river changes through time, no? So I see the river as a symbol, no? So I think that more than borders, the bedeng, the borders, the boundaries are junctions that serve as points of convergence and venues for confluence, as well as for opportunities for divergence. So yun ang aking pagtingin dyan. And I don't know, ano kaya yung pagtingin ng iba, no? So, yun. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat. So, 11:12, nag-extend ba tayo, Ma'am Vicky? So, meron tayong time for, siguro, discussion. Okay na po ako. Gusto ko lang i-acknowledge yung ating weaving communities, no? Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, Abra, La Union, mga kasama. Okay po? Maraming salamat po.
Okay, thank you so much, Malad, for that most informative and validating presentation of the confluence of the Iloco Abel and the Ikneg of Abra. Okay, so are there questions from our audience? There are, no? So let's start with this anonymous attendee. So sabi niya, fascinating research. Thank you, Corditex and its team speaker. Regarding the Kamayan embroidery technique, is this related to the fagoting technique in embroidery to join fabrics together to form as one piece?
Alam mo, first, I'll be honest with you, yung fagoting technique, it's the first time that I'm encountering this. Ma'am Ikin, siguro magpapatulong ako kay Ma'am Ikin.
Kamayan embroidery, yeah.
Yung fagoting.
We have to do further research about this kasi it's a shared technique and of course this is a common way of putting all this fabric all together, no? So this one, it needs extensive. There's a gap really in this research on the Ikneg textiles We have to do research about this one. Okay, the next question from an anonymous attendee. May I also ask about the kambaya or the checkered skirt or saya? May I ask if this is the same kambaya fabric that has been produced during the Spanish colonial era?
Mm, I first heard about the kambaya when I went to La Paz in Abra. They only told me about it, but at that time, wala talagang kambaya, no? And then, I read about the word in, ano na yun sa, kay Castro. Sandra Castro Baker pa yan? Yung sa, nakita ko yung term. And yes, it has a Spanish roots. But as to the exact pattern, I don't know because we even ringe, I saw it described in one book, but it's not the same as the ringi that we call in Ilocos. So we're not really sure. It's just that yeah, I think some of our weavers have used terms, no, that come from outside na maaring may pagkakaiba na doon sa interpretation nila pagdating dun sa weaving. So this goes very far back in time actually pagkatatanong mo sila about kung kailan natuto, paano natuto yung mga lola nila, it's yung since time immemorial na description.
There's a related term aside from the kambaya, which is the kambayasyo. Have you encountered that term?
I only saw the kambaya in Sandra Castro's.
Yeah. The kambayasyo is a kind of, it's not really weaving, but it's a full kind of embroidery of figures, anthropomorphic figures in itneg textile. So they call it kambayasyo, the technique. Yeah, it's a kind of embroidery technique. Okay, anyway, madaming mga further research on this one, no? Okay, from Christine Balas, may ganun din akong napansin na may similarity yung patterns na galing sa magkakaibang lugar sa tattoo ng mga Inuit na mukhang Kalinga patterns. Ano kaya ang connection nila? So, linear, ano?
Yeah, oo. Mas Ma'am Ikin, ikaw makakasagot niyan.
Oo, may linear design that looks similar to each other. Kaya makita natin, maski yung mata-mata ng Bontok, and then I just went to the British Museum, meron ding mata-mata ang Peruvian textiles. Similar, very similar, no? So is this shared patterns or is it in terms of indigenous creativity, it came out, yung sinasabi ni Malot kanina na they independently thought about it, no? So, yeah, it's an extension of the meanings na and the symbolism, pero kasi magkakaiba din sa different cultures. It's not diffusion, but it's also independent type of creativity among artisans and weavers. Okay.
May
So
ano
wala
pa
nang
nga
tanong.
may kung nabasa niyo yung shuttles, yung Journey of Thousand Shuttles ni Dr. Norma Respicio, meron siyang discussion doon similarities ng even of our Philippine textiles pagdating sa technique and pattern sa ibang weavers sa Southeast Asia. Kasama na yung Japan, China, ganun. So makikita natin yung similarities, kaya exciting, no? On how through these centuries, no, maybe we're counting 1,000 years here on this, no, yung influencing each other as we travel, as we receive visitors, yung mga ganun.
Yeah. Okay. There's one more Malot from Antoinette Makani. She said, hello, I am a sociology instructor in UP Visayas. I have attempted to make a research proposal in the marginalization of weavers. I have struggled to find recent literature. May I ask if you can give me any leads? This is a personal interest. I have bought many different fabrics around the country, and Ilocos Cantarinis is actually the cheapest that I have bought. The weavers and even other provinces are aging. Thus, my interest in pursuing the study, no? So, yung economic side ng situation talaga ng weavers. Would you like to comment on that?
Actually, maraming siguro tayong kailangan din na intervention, no, from the state, pagdating doon sa continuity, yung sustainability ng ating weaving, tama yung observation mo. Halimbawa sa Barangay Mindoro ngayon, noong nagsisimula kami diyan na pumasok at mag-aral tungkol sa weaving, ay meron pang around mahigit 10 na people in that community na weaving, into weaving, and now wala na. Oo. Nandun yung knowledge, magagawa nila kung gusto nila, but the problem is that it doesn't really offer them as much economic benefit. So I guess yeah. And, again, because I got dun sa maybe I didn't get your full question, or are you saying that maybe we can talk na even
Yeah.
after, yeah, yeah, after
Yeah,
this?
for a reference, the Corditex also assisted in the writing of the Cordillera Weaving Industry Plan of 2022 to 2028. So this is under the DOST
Mm,
and DTI, um, Office of Cordillera Administrative Region, where the Corditex also presented no yung mga issues and problems
oo.
of the weavers, no, aside from economics, no, yung economy, they also are suffering from health
Mhm.
related issues when it comes to weaving, yung musculoskeletal problem, lung issues, poor eyesight, poor posture, no. So we are working with some PE, physical education, yung tinitingnan din yung engineering, yung how can we make this traditional weaving ergonomically friendly, kasi nga matindi yung back pains ng mga weavers natin, no? So you can refer to that, or if you can email us, we can actually share what we have found out, no, in our research in Corditex. Okay, so we have two more questions, Malot, from our audience. One is from Diwa Malaya. Okay, so she said, acknowledging all the questions you presented, how do we reconcile being conflicted? How do you personally classify the weaves? How can we be more accountable and ask for accountability? For instance, a seller would brand the weave as indigenous, but it was woven from Ilocos. How do we settle this, which is prevalent due to the woven fashion trends? Ang dami niyang tanong, no? So,
Oo.
which is also very relevant and interesting. How do we recognize this? Because in the last 3 years, we saw the revival. Ang daming sumusulpot, but again, ang dami ring mga issues around it. So, how do we reconcile this now?
Ako hanggang ngayon meron akong conflict doon sa sarili ko, sa katulad ng sabi ko, it's a continuing kumbaga engagement with myself pagdating din and discussion, and of course I discuss with others also, but overall pagkatitingnan ko kumbaga broadly, no, from why don't we recognize the multi-ethnicity of certain textiles, like the acknowledgement that these patterns are similar. For example, we acknowledge that some of our binakol patterns are similar to those in Iloilo, no? So yung checkers at saka yung stripes, ano na yan, given na yan, parang no question about it, kasi napaka naman, common naman ng stripes and checkers, no? But for example, the Cosicos pattern, yes, that's shared with Iloilo. So why don't we recognize that ethnicity? At the same time, it should be important for us, I think, to recognize who the weavers are, no? Ang sa akin kasi that fired me up yung there was a time na biglang ninenegate sila. Halimbawa si Nana Santiago, na Corazon sa Santiago, no, the Santiago weavers were being maligned, no? Were being maligned for producing supposedly itneg textiles, na parang ito itneg lang to, without recognizing the sharing and even the way she contributed to the to sustain the patterns and make them accessible and make them kumbaga yung matutunan siya ng ibang mga tao and how significant these textiles are. So I think we have to recognize that yung multi-ethnicity o pagdating ng sino yung producer, all of this, wala kang i-echapuerto para sa akin. Yun lang naman, no? So, but especially if you're conscious about it. Of course, when you're looking as you want only the indigenous at saka pakiramdam mo na daya ka dahil galing sa Santiago, gawa ng Santiago, yung sinabing ethnic na textile na sa'yo, doon tayo magkakaproblema. Kasi siguro ang itatanong ko sa'yo, so what? Kung gawa yan sa Santiago, di ba? Meron ba? Is it of less value to you na gawa yan ng mga weavers natin sa Santiago dahil hindi sila indigenous? Yun yung medyo, actually meron tayong diskusyon dyan. Porke hindi kami indigenous, hindi kami as important. Porke hindi kami indigenous, walang nasulat na libro tungkol sa amin. And yet, kung yung contribution namin doon sa production ng textile ay hindi mo pwedeng maliitin, di ba? Hanggang sa, I think, all of these have to be considered. Yan lang naman po.
Thank you, Malot. In fact, nasa kind of packaging din yung mga binibenta, no? So if we can, for the weavers, if they can already write their names, saan gawa, ano yung description. So when they sell that to future clients, no, or buyers, there's already a description of the type of weave. For me, it's also place-based, no? Where it was woven, who wove it, and what are the specific kind of intervention done. Like, kusikos pa itong Santiago, kusikos ng Abra, kusikos ng Sarat, no? So, you can actually have these variations, no? Yung diversity ng mga iba-ibang patterns. And we should be respectful, mostly, sa mga weavers natin that produce, because in the findings of our Corditex project, there's a third person or a middleman who would actually collect this from different communities and lump them together as binakol, just binakol of who, no? So it's also it's good that we help our weavers, empower them also, no, to write their own narratives before they sell it to future clients, no? Anything else, Malot? Madami ng tanong.
Ayun, basta ang masasabi ko lang, sana maganda na conscious tayo about this, no? Na hindi pala basta bibili lang tayo ng tela na ito maganda, ito hindi, yung mga ganun. Ito colorful, ito hindi. Sabi ko pagdating sa pagiging colorful, talon-talong ang Ilocos. Kasi ano kami, medyo monotone. Kasi yun yung pinagdiskusyon na namin ng kaibigan ko sa Iloilo, na kasi very colorful yung hablon, di ba? Compared sa Ilocos. Kasi yun yung standards namin. Kailangan konti lang. Kasi para sa amin loud yung yung masyadong makulay, at ang para sa amin borloloy na yun.
Yeah. Okay, si Ma'am Kat Palasi from Benguet also said about provenance, no?
Yes.
We should encourage to add to the labels, no, of our weavers, no. That's also very important. Okay, thank you for that suggestion. We have a question from Elaine Clemente. Ito, na-intriga ako sa tanong niya. Binakol is a very prominent pattern. Can this be used in any kind of apparel?
Pagka ang standard natin manggagaling sa Abel Iloco Weavers, yes. Damit namin to, pwede mong gawing bag. Matutuwa rin ako pagka makita ko na nasa house slippers mo siya o kaya sa shoes.
Yeah, so actually itong binakol has many variants, no? Ang dami-dami niyang versions. So there are also some binakol that, sa itnig ay hindi pwedeng gamitin, no? May mga iba silang ganun kasi based on our research also among the itnig, some of the textiles are highly ritualistic, no? They're used for rituals. So in the discussion of Malot, I've noticed the ritual textiles are not really included in her discussion. I think that what's make it let's say excluded itong ritual textiles of the Itneg people are nandyan protected. You can see them in rituals. They're not really mass produced, no. So the binakol and the others that went through trade, intermarriage, what have you, are found mass produced in the Ilocos area. Pero if you go to the deepest study of the religious rituals of the Itneg, meron talagang specific na mga ginagamit. Okay. Let's see this question from an anonymous attendee. If the source community is unknown, as well as the weaver's ethnicity, normally the next step in identification is through the patterns or techniques. But as the discussion stated, these patterns or techniques are shared. How do we then identify and attribute these textiles to their correct ethnicity?
As I said, why don't we encourage the recognition of both ethnicities? For example, if we identify this as shared between the Iloco and the Itneg, but once you know who the producer is, then you have to also to recognize that it's Abel Iloco if it comes from Iloco, and Abel Abra or Abel Itneg if it comes from Manabu, for example, diba? So, pero yung ang tanong mo nga paano kung hindi mo alam kasi kung sino yung nag-produce? And the next best thing is to recognize the pattern as being shared between the two ethnic groups.
Can we actually patent this design or apply for a GI indicator? How do we do this?
Ako medyo pagdating diyan may malaking question pagdating doon sa patenting kasi paano yan, di ba? Napaka-komplikado naman yan kasi yung natural nga yung doon sa sharing among our weavers. Para sa akin kasi pagka-handloom weavers yan, basta traditional production yung paggagamitan, natural lang na mag yan, di ba? Ito, I find this beautiful. I will katulad ni Nana Coring Agosto getting the Marmaranaw design and reproducing it at the same time acknowledging it. But my problem would be if it now becomes the pattern is produced in some other way, like you produce it in a factory, for example. And worst pa if you say that it, for example, ang dami kayang nagmamasquerade na Abel Iloco even sa souvenir shops tapos galing sa China, di ba? Sabi ko, hindi, di ba? Those things, I think we have to protect them kaya dun sa pagpasok ng textiles, halimbawa galing China, ang dami-dami. And they would pass them up as in souvenir shops as Abel Iloco.
Yeah, sadly. Okay, there's a question from Christine Balmes. She's interested in the idea of kinusikos weaves being used in boat sales in the past. What kind of proof do we have that has existed, and what else do we know about it?
Used in nag-choppy kanina, book used in
boat sales in the past.
Boat sales. Okay.
Yeah. What kind of proof do we have that has existed, and what else do we know about it?
Christine, I know you're abroad, so actually yung dati napag-usapan na natin to na maganda sana yung resources na galing doon sa archive, yung archival materials natin galing sa abroad, for example sa Germany, sa Chicago, kung saan-saan man, makakatulong to doon sa pagbibigay ng proof. Because as of now, I only heard it and I only read it doon halimbawa sa production ni Ma'am Norma Respicio. Other than that, I don't have any other source. I can't even, have you found it, Ma'am Ikin, in Blair and Robertson? Parang hindi rin di ba?
It's
parang
just wala cotton but not really kusikos.
Oo, not kusikos, di ba? So,
cotton.
Yeah. So that would be interesting kasi parang tayo kino-quote na lang natin yung na may maaring ito si Ma'am Norma kasi she started doing research on Abel in the 1970s pa kung hindi ako nagkakamali. And we have lost a lot. Even if I ask Nana Catalina, the old weaver, the Binakul master, hindi niya masasabi yung yung kwento na ganyan. So that only means that we have lost a lot of stories already because they're not recorded really.
Yeah. Before we started our webinar, actually Malot and I were discussing about writing a book about this confluence of Abel Iloco and Abel Abra. No, I have done research on different repositories, and what I found was very rich. Not to really share this to our fellow colleagues interested to study this one. Like the Field Museum has descriptions or field notes of Faye Cooper Cole on these textiles. There are a lot of photographs at the Newberry Library and also the American Museum of Anthropology at the University of Michigan. There's a lot of textiles from the Dresden Museum of Anthropology. Nandun yung 150 textiles nila from the Philippines. There are about 263 from the Field Museum on the northern Luzon lang. So you can see even the original embroidery ng early 1900s of the Itneg textiles. You can actually look at that and how they change today, yung pagbabago nito, and like I said, you cannot put them in a static fossilized imagery of what we know, but because they're changing, like Malot emphasized, there were inspirations from different communities, so they have their own way of creativity, and then they render that differently. That is not different from what we know of today and from the past, because in the past there was also trading, ang daming trade system, ang daming nagpapalitan ng tela, in fact, there are also photographs where you can see Kalinga women wearing binakol wraparound skirts. How could that be? As early as 1900. So meaning there are really extensive trade, and textiles was the most coveted ones, and Abra, I presume, because of the complexity of the design. And aside from that, even the materials that are being used are pure cotton, natural dye. And if you will examine the textiles from 150 years ago, the color are still vibrant, nandun pa rin yung kulay niya. And also sturdy yung kanilang material. So we can probably talk about that and share all of these resources and bring this back to the community and, try to revitalize or even revive these lost patterns of these two communities. Malot?
Yes?
Yeah, on the last note, you mentioned about diasporic textiles, that you mentioned about this trade in Mindanao and Visayas area. At the Leon Gallery, there was a very textile which is apparently pinilian of Abra, and this was found in Iloilo. So apparently there were also weavers from Abra that went there to settle, and they taught this pinilian technique, so siguro merong influences doon ang mga weavers ng norte to the Visayas region, so they adapted. Kaya yung similarity ng patterns or similarity ng checkered design, so that could be one, just a hypothesis for that.
O kaya, malay mo, sila pa yung nag-influence sa North. Hindi natin alam na, di ba? Oo, baka babaliktad.
Very fluid. Okay, let's take this last question from Aldous. Good day, and you have mentioned earlier the lack of sources of Iloco in Abel during the Spanish period. May I ask if you tried looking into Spanish era dictionaries? I found an 1833 Dictionary Ilocano Castellano from an online Spanish archive, and it contains a lot of Abel terms and types such as Cantarines, Binacol, Gingon, and Fernandina. Perhaps looking into the dictionaries from that period could reveal more of
Yes.
the Iloco weaving tradition.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, if we can study, yeah, I mean, look into all these resources. Maski ako, limited nga yung ano yung nababasa ko on this, but there are mas ang ano ko kasi sa community yung ngayon yung kung pinanggagalingan ng information, and then I would refer kung ano yung available dito sa Ilocos na halimbawa literature about it. Meron akong kaninang naisip pero nakalimutan ko na naman na kwento rin about the sharing. Eto nga pala. Isang importanteng bagay. Actually, yung Abra at saka yung vegan, yung continuous diyan talaga yung movement, no? Going inland and from inland going out, no? Even in the Second World War, actually communities in vegan in Kawayan area, they entered no through the Abra River and settled. So the the community, the Abel Iloco weaving community of Bulbulala, Lapas, Abra, actually ang roots nila ay sa vegan. No, so yung lahat ng factors na to, they come in and they contribute to all that narrative. So it's kaya yung sinasabi natin, let's not look at this as impenetrable mountains. Even at the peak, actually, they share hunting grounds and the rivers are highways. So the exchange is continuous. The movement is continuous, and people continue to influence each other.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, we thank our 30 strong participants for this morning's lecture and webinar. No, we thank you for your questions. May mga tanong pa ba? Okay, so thank you for joining us this morning. We learned a lot from Malot, and hopefully we can talk about writing a book together on this very interesting topic on the confluence, because my favorite of the textiles is really the Abra and Iloco, no? Aside from the shared tradition is the pattern, no? The complexity of the pattern. So, any last words, Malat, for our audience who are here?
Thank you very much for being here, and thank you Corditex for Ma'am Ikin for giving me this opportunity. Mas sana let's continue the discussion. I'm also very interested. I'm learning. Let's all learn together, no? On our own and together in venues like this. And when we learn, I just hope that it hindi lang mo yung para sa atin, but our concern should be like our learning should be more beneficial, and it should serve our communities. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat.
Okay. Thank you so much, Malot, for your time and energy of sharing your knowledge to our audience right now. And for those who could not make it, I heard there were many registrants for this talk but couldn't make it. This will be made available through the Corditex website. If you missed some of our webinars for the past months, you can find there. So next month, we will also have one most respected Filipiniana practitioner, no? She revived natural dyeing in Abra, and also used some of these patterns, no, the textiles to promote this, no, indigenous textiles into the masses. No? So we will have Miss Patis Tesora for next month. The date is December 14. So we can see how her work has actually influenced the community, and also the use of these textiles to fashion. No? So what are the limits, and how this impacted our communities, no, in relation to this particular aspect. So again, thank you very much. Agyaman kami. Thank you, Malot, for this wonderful time of sharing. Okay. Thank you.